Content without context is confusing and misleading. Content without context is confusing and misleading. That is a statement that my former upline diamond, Kevin Schweers, my fake upline diamond, Kevin Schweers, would always say to his prospects and downline at LTD events. LTD events such as the weekly info sessions, the monthly team meetings. And you know what? He was right. Content without context truly is confusing and misleading. It's confusing, it's deceiving, it's conniving, and it's deceitful. And you know what? As of today, the owners of Larry and Pam Winters have now just admitted that LTD is guilty of providing content to both prospects and downline that is confusing and misleading. What do I mean by that? Well, recently the owners of LTD, Larry and Pam Winters, have released a video sent to LTD members only. It's password protected, and it's only accessible to LTD members only, all LTD members. And in this particular video, this video was on Vimeo or through Vimeo, but overall only sent to LTD members only. In this video, Larry and Pam Winters admit that they have made false income claims and that they have overall false advertised the Amway opportunity. In fact, they admitted that they did this specifically recently at one of their recent conferences called Summit. It's LTD's version of Free Enterprise Day. For those of you that might be from a different tool system listening to this. And so at LTD's version of FED, which LTD calls it Summit, Larry and Pam Winters in this video admit that they made false income claims and they overall false advertised about the Amway opportunity by making claims and statements about Amway that Amway in particular does not make. And I will go over this video and expose this video publicly on my platform. And if you, along with that, if you additionally want to actually see it visually, I'll send the link and the password below in the description. Check that out. I can't promise you if it'll still be up once I release this, but regardless, I'm going to expose this massive, wide, national deceptive trade practice committed by the company LTD, Leadership Team Development, owned by Larry Pam Winters, based in Raleigh, North Carolina. Why? Because I'm someone that stands for the truth. I'm someone that has courage to speak out against things that are wrong. And through that, I reveal the truth. A truth that is uncomfortable for many, many people to accept and dissect. So much so that they might even call me mentally ill. I've had a couple of people accuse me of being mentally ill, or that I'm crazy, or that I have I have an IQ of 70. All of that means one and or two of things. First one, you're a scam artist, so you have to push this lie and statement that I'm crazy, mentally ill, or I have an IQ of 70 just to draw attention away from all the truth that I expose from this illegal business practice committed by LTD. And so you have to make up these lies about me just to draw attention away from what I expose and to put more of a focus on lies about me that are not true so that no one actually sees the actual evidence that I bring out and actually reads through it for their own discretion. In other words, just a way to camouflage all of the illegal business practices that I expose with this company committed by LTD and hide it so no one will ever recognize it or see it. And or it could be number two. Number two, and or if you're not a scam artist in particular, you are still pushing that lie that I have an IQ of 70, I'm mentally ill, I'm crazy, just because you don't want to accept the fact that there are corrupt systems out there that are designed and intended to deceive the masses of people in order to financially exploit them and earn a profit from them deceptively and illegally. You can't accept that, and you don't want to deal with that, and you don't want to deal with the fact that there are a lot of people that fall victim to these corrupt systems or just systems that financially exploit people and financially harm people. You can't fathom that reality. You don't want to deal with that reality that there might be several people out there falling harm to financial deceptive business practices that financially scam people. You don't want to deal with that reality. You don't want to handle that reality because it's too much pain for you to accept the fact and to deal with the fact that we live in a world where these kinds of things happen. You just want to live in a fantasy world where everyone's happy, and you know what? People that get financially harmed or financially exploited, that's a very abnormal thing, very a nominal thing that rarely happens when actually it happens very often in many different kinds of ways, and with many different kinds of systems or companies, you name it. You're afraid of that reality, and so then you make up lies, and so then you label me as crazy, IQ of 70, or mentally ill. So then you think that, okay, people that get scammed, it's just a anomaly of people, very, very minimal amount of people that are just slow or that are crazy or mentally ill like me, like you want to claim. So then you don't have to deal with the reality that there could be normal functioning people, several normal functioning people in society that are falling harm financially towards systems that financially exploit them and financially scam them. If you're not a scam artist, or if you are a scam artist, then you want to still push that lie so that maybe mentally you can trick yourself and deceive yourself and brainwash yourself into thinking that whatever scam that you're operating is good, just to, you know, get away from the guilt that you feel from financially exploiting people and financially scamming people. You try to hide the guilt and put that label on me so then you think that, okay, yeah, my opportunity, my thing that I pitch to people, it only happens to crazy people like me, as you claim, or mentally slow people like me, as you claim. But in reality, I help a lot. I help a lot of people though. Outside of that, whatever kind of bullshit you want to say, regardless of the fact, it's one of those two things, or if not both. And so, regardless, I choose to fight, and I choose to expose the truth to keep people from being financially exploited from this illegal, deceptive business practice called LTD. Because this show is called Unplug. On this show, we free the minds of the people that have been indoctrinated and enslaved by the MLM matrix, or the multi-level marketing matrix, or the direct selling industry. In particular, we speak truth against the lies and fallacies of Amway and LTD. I'm your host, TJ Masumi. All right, before I play the video here, I just want to give some context so that my audience can just understand. I've gone over this before, previous episodes, but just in case this is your first episode, I just want to give just a brief clarification and preface for the video that you're about to hear. Okay, so um, Amway has QAS content standards. That stands for Amway Quality Assurance Standards. Okay, those are basically just it's within the contract of every Amway rep, distributor / IBO. Okay, and so every Amway rep is supposed to follow and adhere to the Amway QAS content standards. Okay, and according to the Amway QAS content standards, Amway reps are prohibited to make any kind of false or misleading descriptions about the Amway opportunities, such as Amway is an opportunity to build passive income, financial freedom, financial independence, ongoing income, unlimited income, etc. And the same thing goes when it comes to the income claims. Amway specifically instructs every Amway rep not to make any Amway income claims above the founder's platinum level or the Q12 platinum level. It's specifically stated with that within their contracts and specifically stated within the Amway QAS content standards. Okay, I just want to clarify that. Okay, so that's the rules. However, LTD breaks those rules, and I've gone over that before many times, several times on my show, about how every Amway rep that's a part of LTD makes annual income claims above the founder's platinum rank or the Q12 platinum rank, right? And that's illegal because Amway does not make any annual income claims above the founder's platinum level. Zero, right? However, LTD, every Amway rep as a part of LTD, they make annual income claims towards ranks that are above the founder's platinum level or the Q12 platinum level. So, for example, Ruby, that's one. Emerald, that's another one. Diamond, that's another one. Right? Those are examples, and they make false income claims towards those levels. Or in other words, they make annual income claims towards those three levels: Ruby, Emerald, Diamond, towards every prospect. And like I said, Amway does not make any annual income claims towards levels such as Ruby, Emerald, and Diamond because those levels are above Founders Platinum. However, LTD reps, Amway reps that are part of LTD, they make annual income claims above the Founders Platinum rank, which is what they're not supposed to do because according to their contracts, according to the QAS content standards, they are not allowed to make any Amway income claims above the Founders Platinum rank, but they make annual income claims towards ranks that are above Founders Platinum. So because of that, they're making income claims that Amway as a corporation does not make, which constitutes them for making false income claims. And I've gone over that more in depth in my show. If you want more explanation, you can look at previous episodes of my show. I've gone over that with one episode is Schweer's Legacy Group, the scheme behind hundreds of felonies. Another one was deception of network marketing, the real story. Another one was from lawsuit or from defamation to counter lawsuit, unveiling the real truth about LTD's criminal network, and so forth and so on. But those ones, and then also baited, switch, and trapped, how Hubert Schweer's Scoble deceived thousands. Those are examples of where I've gone over that more in depth. I just want to clarify, in case this is your first episode, they're not allowed to make any Amway claims above Founders Platinum, but they decided to do so anyway. And on top of that, they false advertise as well. They claim Amway is a path to build passive income, unlimited income, financial independence, financial freedom. And that's all not true. And they're prohibited to say that to prospects, but they decided to do so anyway. So that makes them guilty of false advertising and false income claims. Okay. And I've gone over that and I've exposed that with evidence on my show. Reason why it's evidence is because it's kind of funny actually. Someone said that like, you're using meetings from different like LOAs or whatever, like, the Trevor Baker audio that I have played before, that's from Worldwide Dream Builders. You're using an audio from a different system, and that system is making false income claims, but it's not LTD. But no, it's LTD. Okay, so I just want to clarify this small little thing here too. That recording was sent to me, that Trevor Baker audio that I played multiple times on my show, that was sent to me by my upline diamond, fake upline diamond, Kevin Miller Schweers. Okay, and listen, and the entire LT team made those same income claims that Trevor Baker made in that audio that I've played before multiple times on my show. They made the same exact claims. Okay, so Kevin Miller Schweers, Brent Harris, the people that I'm gonna file my counter lawsuit against, class action lawsuit. All right, they made the same exact income claims that Trevor Baker made in that audio. The exact same income claims, and those income claims are false. Okay, so like that recording was an example to show how, number one, Kevin and Brent sent that audio to their entire downline, all the recruiters, and they gave that same audio to prospects that were looking at the opportunity for the first time. So that audio was given to both prospects and downline / recruits. Okay, in that audio where Trevor Baker makes false income claims, those are the same false income claims that the entire LTD team makes, including the entire Brandon Harris team and the entire Kevin and Amelia Schweers team. Okay, so that is evidence of false income claims made by LTD, and in particular, the people that I'm suing very soon, Kevin and Amelia Schweers and Brenton Harris. Okay, so I just want to clarify. Okay, they made the same exact false income claims, the same exact damn false income claims. Okay, all right, so they're all guilty. Okay, Worldwide Dream Builders and LTD and Ben Harris and Kevin Mishweers, they're all guilty of false income claims. Okay, just to clarify that before someone wants to bullshit this. Okay, so with that being said, Larry and Pam Winters finally admitted that their entire team has made false income claims and has misrepresented, in other words, false advertised about the Amway opportunity to both prospects and downline. They admit this in this recording. So this recording now is just more evidence. I already had evidence of LTD making false income claims and false advertising through my upline, of course. I've gone with that before multiple times in my show, but now I have more evidence, more additional evidence, because now I have the owners of LTD, the ones that own LTD, the ones that are above Brett and Brett Harris, the ones that are above Kenmia Schweers, the ones that are above Billy and Dana Hoopert, the ones that are above Daniel Tal Global, the ones that are above Joe and Maybeth Markowitz, the ones that own the same exact company that my entire upline operates in, LTD. The owners of LTD finally admit publicly that they have false advertised about Amway and that they have made false income claims about the Amway opportunity. Finally. So now I will play the recording. I just wanted to give that preface just so then people understand if this is your first episode, what QAS content standards means and, why they're not allowed to make any income claims about Founders Platinum or QTEL Platinum and stuff like that and mislabel and misrepresent Amway with stuff like passive income and stuff like that. Like they're gonna go over that here in this video, but I just wanted to clarify that just in case people don't know what people don't know what QAS means and like why they're having to apologize for labeling Amway as passive income or whatever, and apologizing for making income claims above the founder's platinum rank. They're going to apologize. So I just wanted to clarify why they're apologizing and, what certain terms mean, such as QAS, you know. So that was the reason why I wanted to give that brief preface so then listeners can know, just in case this is your first episode listening to my show.
We come to you today to share from the heart. We messed up, plain and simple.
During our presentations at LTD Summit 2025 in Louisville, Kentucky, held September 26 through 28, our words and our videos crossed the line. We violated Amway's QAS content standards and the rules of conduct, and that's on us, not LTD, not the team, not Amway.
Here's exactly what we did wrong. We shared extraordinary earnings and lifestyle claims, which is never allowed. We used prohibited words and phrases. We mispositioned the Amway opportunity by making it sound easier than it is. I used sarcastic and disparaging remarks, even if it was meant in humor or to grab your attention. They jeopardized Amway's and IBO reputation. I diminished time and effort by implying success can come fast, and I oversimplified the work involved. We mispositioned the AP by overselling LTD, the team, and upline mentorship as the key to guarantee all success. When referencing incentive trips, we failed to disclose the percentage of people who earn these trips. We incorporated religious projection and faith-based promotion. We overshared personal beliefs in a business setting and overpromoted the Sunday morning optional worship service.
We own every single one of these violations, no excuses. Amway's QAS exists for a reason. They preserve the integrity of the Amway Corporation, the Amway opportunity, and Amway IBOs.
Here are some key points to repair our violations at Summit. Earnings and lifestyle claims beyond the Founders Platinum level and without the appropriate context are prohibited, even if it's true for the speaker. All messaging must be truthful, accurate, realistic, and not misleading, and they must be tailored to your audience. Prohibited words, gone. If the QAS prohibits words and phrases, we will not use them again, and neither should you. Amway is a direct selling business. It's an opportunity to make additional income. We will share the Amway business as Amway defines it. Incomes take continued time and effort, no shortcuts, no diminishing effort, even if the work looks different over time. LTD, your Amway approved provider of BSM, provides training and education. Participation in LTD and with your upline team is not a guarantee of success. BSM is always optional. Whenever incentive trips are described, we will disclose the percent of those who earn the trips every time. We will also make a continued effort to describe the work it takes to achieve the trips. Religious, political, or personal agendas in business meetings are never okay. Optional faith services are part of an event weekend. Optional, but never mandatory.
We fell short of meeting these standards at Summit. We apologize to Amway for our lack of compliance in writing, on the phone, and face-to-face. Part of rectifying our noncompliance involves being suspended from our Amway business while we undergo retraining on the QAS content standards and create retraining for LTD.
You know us. This is a bump in the road for Larry and Pam. It's a reset. While we retrain, reteach, and rebuild trust, starting today with you.
To every IBO watching, we're sorry and we apologize for any confusion that we may have caused. We modeled noncompliance when you needed excellence. You deserve leadership who leads you well.
Our commitment is renewed. We embrace Amway's rules of conduct and QAS 100%. We will lead QAS retraining from the front personally.
Our goal is to break 1,000 platinums, compliantly, sustainably, and with integrity. Thank you for your trust and grace. We're back to work, better, bolder, and 100% compliant.
There are some things I need to clarify here with that video. So it looks like Larry and Pam are wanting to take the blame for this and not blame LTD or any of its members. That's a cop-out, okay? Because the entire LTD team, not just Larry and Pam Winters, have violated the Amway QAS content standards, and through that, they have made false income claims about Amway, and they have false advertised about Amway. I have gone over this multiple times on my show, so you can look at my previous episodes on why, but I'll just briefly clarify just in case there's some asshole that wants to defend LTD and say, no, LTD's not guilty, it's just Larry and Pam. So, okay, number one, I'll start with this. LTD has info sessions weekly, every single week across the US in multiple cities and multiple states. Weekly meetings where they present the Amway opportunity. And at each and every single one of these weekly meetings held throughout the US, they make false income claims about Amway and they false advertise about Amway. Right? And I have evidence of that. Okay. I have evidence of my upline making false income claims at the weekly info sessions here locally in Ankeny, Iowa. Okay. Where, they made false income claims above the founder's platinum level, which Amway as a corporation does not do at all. But my upline decided to do the opposite. Okay, so for example, at the weekly Ankeny info sessions, they claimed that rubies, which is a rank above founders platinum, make 80K to 120K. The next one, they claim that emeralds make 250K, and that is a rank above ruby and, more importantly, above founders platinum. Another one, diamond, they claim that diamonds earn 500K annually, and that's above the emerald rank, the ruby rank, and most importantly, diamond is above the founder's platinum rank. Okay, so those three income claims are income claims that Amway as a corporation does not make. However, my upline decided to make those income claims, which are false, to both prospects and downline. That's false income claims, and making false income claims is illegal in both criminal and civil law. Okay, and that's just one meeting here in Ankeny that's held weekly. Okay, and I've spoken to multiple people that have been a part of LTD. They make those same exact income claims everywhere around the US at every info session, at every weekly info session board plan. They make those same exact false income claims to both prospects and downline. Okay, so LTD as a whole is guilty of false income claims. Okay, and on top of that, my meetings say false advertise. They claim that Amway is a path to build passive income, financial freedom, ongoing income, unlimited income, those phrases are part of the phrases that are prohibited from Amway to their reps to not say to prospects. So when you heard Larry and Pam say that, the phrases that are prohibited to be said to prospects, in the recording that I just played here previously, those phrases are passive income, financial freedom, financial independence, unlimited income, and ongoing income. Those are phrases that are prohibited to use as a description about the Amway opportunity to prospects and downline, right? And LTD, my upline, is guilty of doing that here weekly at the Ankeny info sessions. And on top of that, I've spoken to multiple people that are part of different teams in different states. They use those same exact phrases, those same exact false advertising phrases to describe the Amway opportunity to prospects and downline to multiple different states and cities. Okay, so LTD as a whole, not just Larry and Pam, LTD as a whole is guilty of false income claims and false advertising. Okay, I want to just clarify that here too, so I can see here Larry and Pam are taking the blame, so then LTD doesn't get hurt, because obviously, I mean, they got caught. Let's just be real here. They got caught, so now they have to reluctantly be suspended, right? But they had to take the blame, because if they didn't take the blame and they shared the blame, which, obviously LTD as a whole shares the blame, not just Larry and Pam, because you have every LTD high level rank engaging in the same activity, not just Larry and Pam, across the US, not just Larry and Pam. If LTD as a whole were to take responsibility, you would have essentially LTD be suspended as a whole, as a company. Or at the very least, you would have multiple platinums and diamonds and rubies and emeralds. Overall, you would have multiple LTD high level ranks across the US be suspended. And obviously, Larry and Pam can't afford that, because imagine if all their platinums and above were suspended for a temporary time. Their business would decrease significantly and their income would decrease significantly. So obviously, Larry and Pam has to make up this lie and say, no, it's only us. It's not LTD. It's not any other downline that's doing this stuff. It's only us two, when that's a lie. And I have evidence. It's every platinum and above is engaging in that same activity of false advertising and false income claims. All right, and I have the evidence of that, and I have the witnesses to back that up. The same witnesses that will be on my subpoena for my deposition that I'll be filing here soon, as well as, overall my counter class action lawsuit. All right, so I just want to just repeat this here again, just to make, because I don't want this to miss anybody's heads here. Okay, the entire LTD team is guilty of this false advertising and false income claims. Not just Larry and Pam, the entire LTD is guilty of this. Okay. But I am happy to see that Larry and Pam are now suspended, well deserved. So, now they won't, build their illegal, deceptive business practice anymore. Even though they'll have their downline do it for them, their platinums and above across the US, at least those two are suspended, at least. And at least this hopefully forces them to then make accurate income claims now about Amway, and not false advertise about Amway in the future, hopefully. But you never know. You never know. But since Larry and Pam Winters are in the limelight here, I just want to clarify a few things here. So Larry and Pam, they're not just Larry and Pam, of course. Larry and Pam and all of their platinums and above are not only guilty of false advertising about Amway and making false income claims about Amway, they are also guilty of running a pyramid scheme through the company LTD. And I have exposed this. It's on my website, www.unplugLTtools.com, and also another one, www.europeansfl.com. I'll post them below in the description. But I have evidence of LTD being an illegal pyramid scheme, which is an illegal business model. All right. The reason why is because, there are zero end users buying products from LTD. Products from LTD are only bought from distributors or members of part of LTD only. And the only way to become a member of LTD slash distributor is to sign up and register underneath an existing LTD member. That's the only way to buy any product from LTD. That automatically makes LTD a pyramid scheme because LTD has zero products being sold in the market. They're not being sold to consumers. They're only being sold to their distributors, their members, their reps, their LTD reps. All right, so that's an LTD pyramid scheme, and I've gone over that multiple times in my show, and I have evidence of that. I just want to clarify here again. All right, and that's the foundation because it sets up for a lot of other felonies. Of course, a pyramid scheme is a felony, but it sets up a lot of other felonies because, like I said, since LTD makes false income claims about Amway and false advertises about Amway all over the U.S. through their meetings that are held weekly, um, you know, that automatically makes them guilty of conspiracy to commit fraud. The reason why is because each info session that's held weekly across the U.S. is coordinated and planned out ahead of time to make false income claims and false advertisements about Amway. And that would be a felony called conspiracy to commit fraud. The reason why is because platinums and above across the U.S. are coordinating a planned effort to make false income claims about Amway and to false advertise about Amway in order to entice prospects and downline to be a part of LTD so then that platinums and above can earn LT2 revenue off of them illegally and fraudulently through the illegal business model called a pyramid scheme committed by LTD. And I've gone over that before my show. So if you want more clarification, just check out previous episodes. And on top of that, multiple meetings are streamed. So they're not only held live across the U.S. info sessions, but they're also streamed virtually. And so that'd be wire fraud because they're using the internet to make false income claims and false advertise about Amway in order to entice both prospects and downline to ultimately join LTD and Amway. So then that platinums and above can earn LT2 revenue off of them illegally and fraudulently through the illegal business model, the illegal pyramid scheme business model called LTD. All right, and each false income claim, each false income claim is a felony charge. Reason why is because charges towards wire fraud and conspiracy to commit fraud stack up fast. Okay, and those are two separate felonies: wire fraud and conspiracy to commit fraud. Two separate felonies, and so because of that, each false income claim is a felony charge. All right, so the false income claim about Ruby being 80K to 120K, that is a felony charge. The next one, Emerald, 250K annually, that's a false income claim. That'd be a felony charge. And same with Diamond, where they make a false income claim about Diamonds making 500K annually. That'd be a felony charge. And these would all be felony charges. These would all be felony charges under wire fraud and conspiracy to commit fraud. All right, so they stack up fast. And LTD is guilty of committing all these felonies. And I have evidence of that, and I've gone over that before on my show recently, so you can look at my past episodes. And so with all that, with all my evidence, and then with Larry and Pam admitting that they made false income claims and false advertise, combined with all of that, that obviously proves and constitutes that LTD is RICO. Reason why is because RICO, you need at least 2 illegal acts being done within 10 years repeatedly, and obviously we what I just described here is more than two, way more than two. Number one, pyramid scheme. Number two, wire fraud. Number three, conspiracy to commit fraud. That's at least 3 felonies right there. So that's at least meeting that minimum 2 illegal acts being done in 10 years. And, obviously LTD is a pyramid scheme. So that's ongoing, an ongoing business model that's illegal. And then the other two, well, those meetings take place every week. So they're live every single week across the US, and they're being streamed through some of the meetings, not all of them, but through some of the meetings that are being streamed every single week across the US. So, I mean, that's obviously specifically 3 illegal acts being done, committed consistently within a 10-year time frame. So that makes obviously LTD RICO, and obviously LTD is a criminal enterprise, because a criminal enterprise, you have to have an illegal business model for a company, and on top of that, the company has to also then be engaging in 2 illegal activities within 10 years. Okay, and so obviously LTD, it has an illegal business model called a pyramid scheme, and I have evidence of that. And then on top of that, LTD is committing at least committing a minimum of 2 illegal activities within 10 years, and obviously that would be wire fraud and conspiracy to commit fraud weekly. Okay, so LTD is RICO, and LTD is a criminal enterprise. Okay, so this video just helps with my overall gathered evidence to prove all this. So I'm damn sure going to use this during court. Along with that, Larry and Pam Winters and LTD are guilty of tax evasion. Okay, because LTD, like I said before, it has weekly meetings across the US called the Info Session, and they have monthly team meetings across the US called Team Meeting, and they have quarterly conferences that take place 4 times a year across the US. And they have a fifth conference called Fall Leadership. It's a semi-conference, takes place annually, and they have that across the US as well. Okay, and for each and every single one of their LTD events, their LTD Live events, they do not charge or they do not charge and collect / remit sales tax, and they're supposed to. Reason why is because if you didn't know this, LTD high level ranks, specifically Amway Platinums and above, earn income from monthly team meetings and weekly info sessions. And I have the LTD BSM compensation contract, which specifically states that Platinums and above earn income consistently from the weekly info sessions and the monthly team meetings. It's in the contract, so it's a profit center for Platinums and above. It's in there. It's within their LTD BSM compensation contract. Even though they lie to their downline and their recruits and to prospects that admission fees to monthly team meetings and weekly info sessions is just for rental cost. Actually, no. Platinums and above earn income from monthly team meetings and weekly info sessions. Okay, and then when it comes to conferences such as the quarterly conferences and the annual fall leadership, specifically emeralds and above earn income from each and every single one of the downline recruits that buys a ticket. So some may get $10 for each person in the downline that buys a ticket to a quarterly conference and a fall leadership, or it could be more or less. But overall, emeralds and above, they receive income from each and every single one of the downline members that buys a ticket to attend a quarterly conference and a fall leadership. And people that are below emerald, including platinums, they do not receive income from conferences quarterly and the annual fall leadership. And that's all stated within the LTD BSM contract, compensation contract. And it also states there too that emeralds and above that receive that income from conferences quarterly and the annual fall leadership, emeralds and above have to have a minimum of 6 legs. A minimum of 6 legs. They have to have that, and it's all within the LTD BSM compensation contract, and that's on my websites, both of them. I'll I'll post my websites below, but I have the contract on my websites. Okay, so since those meetings, all those meetings, conferences, team meetings, info sessions, follow leadership, since those are all profit centers for LTD high level ranks, and since LTD is a for-profit organization, you can look it up. LTD is a for-profit organization. Since they set the ticket price, for all their live events, all their live events, they set the ticket price to charge their attendees, their recruits, and they earn a profit from all these LT live events as well. As a profit center, LTD is required to charge and collect/remit sales tax to every state that they hold their meetings. Their conferences quarterly, annual fall leadership, monthly team meetings, info sessions, all their events live. They have to charge and collect/remit sales tax. And obviously LTD does not. I've gone over that before on my show recently. If you look at, if you remember, if you look at any of your receipts towards any LTD event, like I mentioned before here, for those events, there is no line for sales tax anywhere. So there's no sales tax on your LTD info session tickets weekly, and there's no sales tax on your monthly team meetings for LTD team meetings, and there's no sales tax for your LTD quarterly conferences, and there's no sales tax for your annual fall leadership for LTD. No sales tax whatsoever, and they're supposed to charge sales tax. But if you look at any of your receipts towards LTD events, live events, there is zero sales tax charge on any of your LTD receipts. I know because when it comes to my own personal receipts, my own personal LTD receipts to attend live LTD events, there is a zero sales tax charge. Zero. And legally, since LTD is a for-profit organization, and since it's stated within their contract, the LTD compensation contract, that LTD high level ranks earn a profit from LTD live events, they're supposed to charge sales tax to every single one of their attendees slash LTD recruits slash LTD members. They're supposed to charge sales tax to each and every single one of their LTD members, and then they're supposed to then collect that sales tax and remit that, or in other words, report that and give that to the state that they're holding their meetings at. So that sales tax is supposed to go to the state. But obviously LTD, I've gone over this before my show, and I've exposed this. LTD as a whole is not charging sales tax, and they're not collecting and remitting sales tax to the state that they operate in to have their meetings, their live events. And so doing that is a violation of tax evasion, where if you're not collecting and remitting sales tax for your events that you make a profit for or from having attendees attend, that's tax evasion, right? So, for example, here in Ankeny, Iowa, Kevin Mayor Schweers, they hold a meeting here weekly called the Info Session, and they have all their attendees pay in cash $5, and each attendee is given a receipt after they pay $5, and that receipt has zero sales tax charge on the receipt. And technically, like I said before, Kevin Mayer Schweers are, in this example here, they're required to charge sales tax to their attendees because it's stated within the LTD contract, their LTD compensation contract, that platinums and above earn income from weekly info sessions. It's a profit center. And so because of that, and because LTD is a for-profit organization, Kevin Mayer Schweers are required to charge sales tax to their attendees, which here in Iowa it's 6%, in Ankeny, Iowa. So they're supposed to charge 6% from all their attendees for the weekly info sessions here in Ankeny. They're supposed to charge 6%, and that 6% is supposed to go back to the state, to Iowa. So technically, that $5 should have specifically cost $5.30. It should have cost $5.30, and that 30 cents from each attendee that's collected is supposed to then go back to Iowa, the state. But obviously, Kevin and Millie are not doing that, and there's proof of that because, like I said, I have the contract, the LTD compensation contract on my websites, and I have my receipts as well. And those receipts are from Kevin Schweer's info sessions and other events, and there's a zero sales tax charge to me. So that's evidence of tax evasion, because if you're not collecting and remitting sales tax to the state where you operate meetings at and hold meetings at, meetings in particular that you make a profit for as a for-profit organization, that is state level tax evasion. Okay, and LTD is not exempt from collecting and charging sales tax. They are not exempt because LTD is a for-profit organization. They are not a nonprofit. They are a for-profit organization. Okay, so every LTD event, not just here in Ankeny, and not in Ankeny, Iowa, with Kevin Mishweer's, every LTD event across the U.S., every single one of them, info sessions, team meetings, conferences, they're required to charge sales tax and collect sales tax and give that or remit that back to the state that they hold a meeting, but they don't. So that makes Larry and Pam Winters and the entire LTD team guilty of state level tax evasion. So I wanted to point that out, and I've gone over that before my show previously. If you need more of an explanation, I have gotten with that before on my show, on my recent episodes. I just wanted to repeat that just to clarify this one thing here, that Larry and Pam Winters are guilty of more than just violating QAS content standards, Amway QAS content standards. Okay, Larry and Pam Winters are guilty of more than just false advertising and making false income claims. Guilty of way more. Several felonies. And not just them, too. Every Amway Platinum above is guilty of committing multiple felonies. And they're guilty of violating the Amway QAS content standards and making false income claims and false advertising. Okay? So I just want to clarify that there's more crimes, more felonies, and it really does center around the fact that LTD is an illegal pyramid scheme, and then they, on top of that, make false income claims and false advertising about Amway. It triggers a lot of felonies. That correspond with that. So I just wanted to point that out there. It's not just Larry and Pam. It's the entire LTD team, the entire LTD company, and it's every Amway Platinum and above that's in LTD. They're guilty of committing multiple felonies and violating the QAS Amway content standards. Okay, I just want to make that clear here. So it shouldn't just be Larry and Pam when it's suspended. It should be every Amway Platinum above that's suspended. That's a part of LTD. They should all be suspended. And you know what? I'll make sure of that because with my class action lawsuit coming here pretty soon and my deposition, it's going to prove all of that. All right, it's going to prove that people like Kevin Schweers, Brenda Harris are guilty of committing the same acts that Larry and Pam just admitted to. And on top of that, additionally, they're guilty of committing multiple felonies. Multiple of them. Felonies in particular that I've gone over before on my show. So that's going to expose all of that, and hopefully with that public exposure from my deposition, hopefully then Brenda Harris and Kevin Schweers, they're also suspended as well, if not terminated, which would be great. All right, and lastly, Larry and Pam Winters, on top of LTD as a whole, every platinum above that's a part of LTD. They not only violate the QoS content standards, but they take it to a whole another level of violating the QoS content standards. Reason why is because LTD runs and they run a 7 to 9 meeting interview process. LTD as a whole, nationally, they run a 7 to 9 meeting self-created interview process or vetting process. And that vetting process is an illegal recruitment scheme. The reason why is because that vetting process intentionally decides to hide and conceal the fact that the opportunity is Amway. They hide that and conceal it from prospects within the very first few meetings within the 7 to 9 meeting self-created vetting process. And that's actually illegal. That's actually a deceptive trade practice nationally. The reason why is because um, it's actually illegal to hide the fact that it's Amway from prospects, even if it's within the first few meetings. I've gone over that before on my show, so I'm not gonna clarify here, but it is illegal to hide the fact that it's Amway, even if it is for just a few meetings within the self-created vetting process. It's illegal because it's a deceptive trade practice, and it's a deceptive trade practice through the method of bait and switch, where they bait prospects into thinking that this opportunity, which they don't know that's Amway for the moment, they just describe it as a general opportunity to build passive income and um, financial freedom. And they'll hide the fact that it's Amway for the first few meetings, and then later on, within the vetting process, they'll reveal that's Amway. But that was a bait where they used false advertising by claiming that it's a general mentorship opportunity to build passive income and financial freedom. And then the switch, bait and switch, the switch was then they later on revealed that's Amway. It's an MLM, which was completely different from what was described before. Because remember, Amway reps are not allowed to use the words passive income and financial independence and passive income to describe the Amway opportunity. But they're doing it anyway, and so that's bait and switch, which falls under deceptive trade. And then on top of that, they hide the fact that it's Amway, which is actually legal because you are concealing a material fact, and that material fact is that the opportunity is Amway, and you're intentionally hiding that it's Amway within the first few meetings, which is illegal. I've gone up that before on my show, so I just wanted to clarify here that they take it to a whole nother level. It's not just false income claims that they're doing with false advertising and violating the QoS content standards. They are taking it to another level by having an illegal recruitment scheme where they're hiding that's Amway for the first few meetings. Prospects have a right to know from the get-go, from the beginning of meeting a Amway rep, that the opportunity that they're being solicited for is the Amway opportunity. So hiding it even temporarily is actually illegal. That violates consumer fraud laws, several of them, just because you're hiding a material fact. On top of that, you're misleading them through false pretenses by claiming that the opportunity is passive income, financial freedom, income opportunity, without saying what the actual company name is. And on top of that, it's false pretenses because not only are you being vague, but you're using statements that Amway prohibits for you to use to describe the opportunity. And so overall, it violates consumer fraud laws by leading prospects and downline through false pretenses and through not letting them know what the opportunity is for the first few meetings within the self-created vetting process. And on top of that, that'll be fraudulent inducement by being led through false pretenses and not knowing what the opportunity is, and through them being told false advertisement statements and false income claims. And this would lead multiple state attorney generals to ultimately sue LTD, Platinums and Above, and Larry and Pam Winters for operating this illegal recruitment scheme, the self-created 7 to 9 meeting vetting process. But overall, it's a massive, wide, deceptive trade practice that is being committed by LTD as a whole, as a company, and every Amway Platinum and Above that's a part of LTD, and of course the owners, Larry and Pam Winters. And so this suspension is very well deserved, and I'm happy to see that Larry and Pam Winters are suspended. It's about damn time. And there'll be more on the way. That's a part of LTD. I'll make sure of that. And or possibly Amway termination. You can bet that this video, this recording, will be used within my own personal class action lawsuit. It will be used in court to overall further out prove that LTD is a deceptive trade practice that is additionally violating several laws and felonies, all to financially exploit and financially harm the masses of people across the US. So if you're looking to join my class action lawsuit against LTD, my counter lawsuit, you can. You have to just be a part of LTD within the last 5 years. And if you don't want to, that's fine as well. And like I said, right now I'm in the process of filing a deposition. And then after that, my class action suit should be filed. The enemy here is a system, a corrupt, evil system that is designed to financially exploit the masses across the US. That system is the LTD tool system. LTD has built a world of illusion where mentorship hides manipulation, passive income hides exploitation, and tools hide control. Most people inside don't even know they're plugged in. They repeat what they're told, buy what they're sold, and they defend the machine that drains them. But if you're like me, once you see the code, you can't unsee it. That's when fear turns into purpose. I'm fighting the system that blinds the masses and masses of people. And the truth is the key that unplugs them. If you were ever part of LTD, or if you're still a part of LTD, they told us all that success was freedom. But the deeper I looked, the more I saw the chains. LTD isn't mentorship, it's programming. It rewrites your mind, your money, and your meaning. They sell obedience disguised as faith. Dreams are rewritten into debt. Loyalty is twisted into silence. The real enemy is the code, the invisible system, the LTD tool system, controlling people who still think they're free. Every rank, every tool, every lie, all designed to keep the machine alive. But here's the glitch. Once you see the truth, you become the threat. They call you bitter, disloyal, crazy, because truth terrifies the system more than any rebellion. I'm not here to hate, I'm here to wake. And when the sleepers rise, the system, the LTD tool system, falls. The LTD tool system is the enemy. And the minds that are brainwashed and indoctrinated by LTD are the ones that are innocent. Innocent people that are trying to seek an opportunity to build financial independence, when all the while they're being exploited financially and being scammed financially and producing tool revenue for Amway high-level ranks that are part of LTD, while they themselves receive zero LTD2 revenue if they are below the Amway Platinum level. Because Amway Platinums and above earn LT2 income, while people that are below Amway Platinum receive zero LT2 income. And the majority of income when it comes to these Amway high-level ranks that are part of LTD comes from LTD, specifically 80%. And a minority of their income comes from Amway, specifically 20%. It's all just a massive, wide deception. Content given to the masses in order to confuse them and mislead them and deceive them. Because, like I mentioned before, content without context is confusing and misleading. So, if you want to join this fight with me towards this class action lawsuit against LTD, you're more than welcome to. If not, that's fine. I'm still going to whip some ass anyway. So that is all we have for today. Just wanted to celebrate and brag that Larry and Pam Winters are suspended from Amway. Their Amway distributor accounts or their Amway IBO accounts are suspended. So the work that overall the anti-MLM community is doing is working. So I just wanted to gloat, celebrate, and talk shit. And just say, ha ha, Larry and Pam Winters are suspended. So if you're a downline that's a part of LTD currently, ha ha, your upline diamonds are suspended. Your upline double diamonds are suspended. And right now, Amway is on their ass. And it's going to get even worse too as I continue to expose LTD and as I begin to file my class action lawsuit against LTD and Brenda Harris, Kevin Schwiers, Daniel Talgobel, and Billy and Dana Hoopert. So that is all we have for today, and we'll see you for the next one. Thanks for listening. Bye.